why is it that it always happens with small businesses?
Because
you're not seeing that. We are not seeing that based on the data that we have analyzed.
most of our large businesses, we negotiate the specific price. When we're talking about just in the past, since post-April, 69% of the dollars being obligated to small business, the majority of those dollars are in fact to these emergent type work where we issue the not to exceed, which is and where the large businesses are, we basically negotiate the specific price as opposed to a not to exceed.
Look at that chart. Those are the contract losses since April.
With all due respect, Madam Chair, they're not losses, they are de-obligations.
Well,
there is a significant difference.
Call it the way you want it.
That's what the financial people call it.
But the fact is, sir, that is happening with small businesses. It is not happening with big firms. And yet, we haven't gone to the fact that you're miscoding large firms as small businesses. Ms. Dawn, during the last hearing, you stated that GSA awarded more than 70% of its contract to small businesses. In fact, since April, when we met in New Orleans, GSA has awarded only 6.3% to local, of its contracts dollars, to local small businesses. Only $62,000 has been awarded to these businesses. When we ask you to identify 5 prime contracts, opportunity for local small businesses, GSA provided 5 contracts but did not address local small businesses at all. So I ask you, what is it that GSA is doing to increase the participation of local businesses in contracting opportunities?
First, Madam Chairwoman, sorry. Out of the contracting dollars, I would like to say that what we reported is Katrina-related contracts. We also have contracts which are just for general procurement work, and none of these, of course, show within the construction field contracts that are actually subcontract dollars, which would actually also be local small businesses. Unfortunately, the way the system is set up for metrics, it doesn't allow you to count all that. Things that we're doing for small businesses, first of all, we have to do local small business is we have issued a guidance on the Stafford Act, which allows them to have the opportunity to have a local preference. I think this is one of probably the most important thing that we're going to be able to do, because it became clear that a lot of our contracting officers, while they understood that that was a requirement there, they didn't necessarily feel as empowered to do that, and that's something that I can change. We have our chief acquisition officer is getting procurement folks who are trained only in disaster recovery. There will be training sessions to make them aware of how to utilize and write the justifications for local small businesses. We have an invoice modification process which requires our prime contractors to account on the front of the invoice for all dollars awarded to local small businesses. We have put in place something called Workplace Solutions, which allows us to combine our public building service, which has the large contracts for construction, and our federal acquisition service. And those,
are you talking about the Gulf region?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, Madam Chairwoman. Yes, we're talking about within the Gulf region. And
but we met in April.
Yes, I know, Matt.
And from April to this day, you come here and we can point to just only 6.3%. You did the same at that hearing.
Okay, with all due respect, Madam Chairwoman, I would appreciate the opportunity to come to you at the end of our fiscal year. Much of our procurement at GSA happens in the August to September timeframe when the end-of-year spending occurs, and we have put and positioned our contracting folks in place within Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas, and Alabama to handle these procurements. And we are set up to handle, and we expect quite a bit of procurement.
You will come back at the end of fiscal year.
Oh, thank you very much.
I promise you
that.
My next question is, since you spend so much time in your testimony talking about VETS GWAC, how many local small businesses got awarded any portion of VET's GWAC
I do not
from
have
the
that.
Gulf region?
I do not have that information at this point, but I'm happy to follow up with the committee on that
Well, I could
information.
answer. It's totally irrelevant because it didn't pertain to the Gulf region at all. So that's why we cannot have any information as to any of the contracts going to local small businesses. This was nationwide. It didn't have anything to do. But you spend all your time talking about this. I asked in the letter that I sent to you specifically to address local small business participation in the region. And with that, I recognize Mr. Shabbat.